What do you make of this?
Good evening all. First of all, I want to thank you and indeed your entire team for busting at least half a dozen or so, as were apparent, of these fake narratives. And it was absolutely crucial because, let's be very honest about this.
This was a clear plan. I repeat, a clear plan to foment trouble and communal disturbance, and the investigating agencies need to get to the bottom of this, to find out who were the politicians and political parties and their journalists and their activists who were involved in this perfidious plan. But I ask you, Rahul, I'm sorry to be repetitive here. Is this new? Haven't they been trying to do exactly this since 2014? Remember the fake church attack narrative of 2014-2015?
Yes.
They tried to create a Hindu-Christian divide and portray India as descending into majoritarianism and fascism and intolerance by saying Hindus were attacking churches. And what came out in the end? Those were regular run-of-the-mill burglaries, and as many temples had been attacked as churches. But who were punished in the end? Which journalist or activist or politician or political party paid the price for spreading that fake news? Since 2014, Rahul, there have been dozens of such fake narratives and selective outrages. And speaking truth to power bunkum, where any communal instance or intolerant act in non-BJP ruled state or by Muslim perpetrators doesn't elicit any outrage. We are so used to this now. It's almost one a day. And coming back to this so-called call to the Muslim Brotherhood or Ummah to raise voice against the so-called Muslim suppression. We all remember what happened in the 2012 Azad Maidan riots, don't we? And that was to protest against the treatment of Rohingyas outside of India. But there is one instance, Rahul, just 10 seconds, where such activists and rioters never come onto the streets and outrage at the plight of Uyghur Muslims, 1.5 million of whom have been interned in concentration camps in China and being fed pork and being alcohol. But not a whimper from the left or the AIMIM or any sundry Muslim rights organization. Why? Kyun? Uske paise nahi milte?
Direct questions being asked by Dr. Anand Ranganathan, who's clearly upset, very clearly upset. And Mayur Shekhar Jha, let me ask Dr. Ranganathan, let's believe the likes of Salman Khurshid and his party boss, that Hindutva is responsible, that ideology is responsible for the death and lynching of Muslims. Then what ideology is responsible for the lynching of this particular individual, Sanjeet?
No, Rahul, first of all, my sincere condolences at this horrendous crime. And there is no doubt about it that over the years, maybe decades, the mainstreaming and almost celebration of hate against BJP and RSS has led to violence against these people and the workers. But ultimately, I have to also say this, and let me say this straight up, because you're only responsible for your own flock. So two people need to apologize to the nation. One, Hamid Ansari for felicitating the PFI chief despite knowing the terror activities of the PFI. And two, I know I'll get trolled for this, but I'm going to say this anyway. Two, Narendra Modi for being in power for 7 years and still not banning the PFI. This is how you ignore on mainstream terror and violence. Look what happened in Bengal, because people got a whiff that BJP is least bothered when hundreds of its workers are killed and raped. So let us go on doing it. There is absolutely no excuse, especially when you have documented proof that the PFI is an organization neck deep in acts of terror, bomb making, training camps, political murders, linked with Al-Qaeda and Islamic fundamentalism. It came into prominence after Simi was banned. Many PFI leaders are ex-Simi. This is not me saying this, Rahul, but the Kerala police and the High Court. What more do you want? Let me give you just one example of PFI's criminal antecedents. On July 4, 2010, PFI activists chopped off the hand of a teacher named Joseph for allegedly framing a question paper that insulted Prophet Muhammad. In 2015, 13 PFI activists were convicted by the court for this crime. Hundreds of PFI leaders and activists have been charged under the UAPA, all under the Congress and the Communists. But the moment the BJP comes to power, the former start supporting such organizations, play the victim card, hum khatre mein hai, chirag bujhane ki koshish hai, darawa Musalman, etc. And at the same time, supports an organizations that want to break up India. So who is responsible? I ask, people in power or people not in power? I'm afraid the answer is that the people in power.
People in power. Sanju Verma responds.
And I just want to illustrate how easy this is, Rahul. You would be shocked. 2 years ago, at the height of the CAA demonstration, 6 SDPI activists decided to actually go and murder Tejasvi Surya, BJP MP. You know how much they charged for it? 10,000 each. For 60,000 rupees, they went to go and kill Tejasvi. They couldn't find him. So while returning, they nearly killed an RSS man. This is how easy it is in our country. And may I please disagree with the BJP spokesperson who said, who talked about radical Islam being... No, I'm sorry. There is nothing radical about it. Everything is written. Everything is specific. And now, Kerala, you please ask the Kerala spokesperson there, because, Hindus and RSS have been saying it for decades.
No, so let me ask.
What the problem is. And they have been ignored. But now the Christians are saying it. Now the church is talking about love jihad. So now the Kerala government is in a bind, whether to believe another minority or not.
This is not...